Everybody, silence your phones. Jonathan better tell everybody that. This is my family, everybody. Dad's gonna get up out of there and tell y'all. He's getting a kick out of this now. Yes, he's probably in his. Hey, yeah.
That's why I did it.
Before I start, I just want to kind of speak from my heart for just a second. Took me, Bill was my grandpa, for those of you that don't know, but most of us are family here, so you know that. He asked me about 10 years ago to do this, and I reluctantly said yes, only because I knew the emotional attachment was going to be hard to get through. He was more than just a grandpa to me. He was a father figure. Stepped in more ways than my own father did. In ways that he didn't have to, but he did. And I'll forever be grateful for that. William, Bill, as most knew him, Homer Hipsher Jr., was a man known by so many, in so many different ways. Some people come into our lives and quickly go. Others stay and leave footprints that we just can never erase. And due to that, we are never the same. Bill Hipsher was such a man. I've talked to many of the people that knew him over the years, and quite a few that were here today. The descriptions I've heard over and over, just to name a few, were he was so much fun. He was such a joy to be around. He loved to help people. He was infectious. His smile lit up the room. His laugh commanded your attention. That it did.
Oh, yes.
It echoed, and it still echoes in my mind and in my heart. He was such a hard-working man. He was a provider. And my favorite, he loved Jesus so much.
Amen.
He was a great man who certainly was dedicated to family and friends alike. I've never met another man quite like him. By God's standard, he was a great man. Because Jesus said, "He who that is greatest among you is a servant of all." And the man that I knew in Bill Hipsher was a servant. I've heard this saying once, and it is so fitting for him and for this day. Every man's life makes some type of impression where he travels. But he who makes the most enduring and indelible mark on history has served humanity with his life and talents. That was my grandpa. His works were many and will long be remembered by everyone he touched. The book of Hebrews says, "He being dead yet speaks." You simply cannot bury influence. My grandpa had a lot of influence on those that he came in touch with. Influence is not reflected in a mirror. Influence is not defined by demonstration. Influence is not calculated by math. Influence is not dissected by logic. Influence is not measured by a ruler. Influence is not weighed on scales. It is the total effect of one's life upon another. Much about life simply cannot be put into a coffin. Alexander Graham Bell is in the grave, but the phone continues to ring. Edison is in the grave, but the electric light still shines. Steve Jobs is in the grave, but Apple still marches on. Though Bill Hipsher has been called away, his influence still remains and will remain. And someone out there, I'm sure many out there, have and will continue to say, "Thank you, Bill. You made a difference in my life." I know that I will be one of them. Jesus said it best, "I have come that they may have life and have it more abundantly." This remembrance and celebration of Bill's life today speaks of this. We came today not just to mourn, but to celebrate a life well lived. Matthew 10:39 says, "Whoever loves their life will lose it, but whoever hates or loses their life for my sake will find it." My grandpa loved Jesus and those around him. He lived his life well. It was blended into so many others' lives. Those that are here can now come and share a moment or a story of how he has impacted their life. I'll open it up. I kind of wanted to share a little more. Like I said, he was more than just a grandpa to me. He was a father. He instilled the work ethics that I have today in me. I watched this man rise every day at 5 o'clock and start his day. He had an everyday routine. And that routine still sticks out. Oatmeal. Every morning. Every morning. Sometimes go. I worked with him for years as he ran Hipsher's window and floor and listened to many, 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 many great stories of life and love and all the jokes that he had to share. He was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to be around. I'm going to miss him dearly. I miss you already, old man. I love you, Grandpa. If anyone would like to come and share a moment, story, anything, feel free to come up and share. I want to hear stories. I want to laugh. I want to, let's remember. So I encourage you to come and share.
Want to go first? Well, Pop, you talked to me about this a long time and a lot about this stuff. And I think you try to keep us prepared if when this happened, this day happened. I'm at peace that my dad passed on. I mean, the tears of death. I know that my father went to heaven. He lets me know that he went. I think he came and visited my son, which is praise because I was too weak to do what my son, I knew I was supposed to do it, but thank God he used my son to do what I thought I was supposed to do. And me and Dad were born on the same day, so I kind of got that bond every birthday. But I noticed that always he was the center of attention, even when I was on the left or the right. But I'll let you know, since the 15th, my birthday, we're partying now. But I love you guys, and my dad meant a lot to me. He did mean a lot. I mean, he shared a lot of stuff with me. Some things I'm not going to share because we'll get in trouble for it. Because he did have a good sense of humor. Sometimes bad jokes out of this world. And he did know his politics. And you knew when he was going to the throne, he was giving birth to a Democrat.
There's a few things I want to share. Remember when I was a little kid, this man could never say no to his grandchildren. If you ask him, even if he worked a long day, he would come get you and let you spend the night. He just never said no. This man taught me work ethics. It's because it's where I am today. Wasn't for this man, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I owe that to him. This is the greatest man I've ever known. This man he's a really great man. He always had a smile on his face. There's nothing he wouldn't do for his family. I don't have a whole lot more to say. Unless you, Grandpa.
For all my family out there, they don't remember me. They swore they gave birth to a little demon when I was born. He's bald because of me, and I inherited it.
Everyone does.
But when I was a teenager, at the 3rd Street house, we had this big table we had to. There was all those kids and mom and dad. And he got mad at me. I ran around the table. He come after me, and he couldn't catch me. And Karen and my mom started laughing, and all it did was make him madder at me. I remembered those times, and it always blessed me a lot. As Chris said, the thing that's great is he did as Grandpa did, senior. At 70 years of age, he gave his life to the Lord, and he lived it, and all this. My dad gave his and went. He was honored, yes, many times, but he gave his life, and we know where he's at right now. He's dancing in the streets of gold, and he's happy, and he's got no pain, because believe me, when I seen him the day before he passed away, he was in severe pain, and he is doing great now, because there's no pain at all. But he was a character. There's another story to tell you. He got mad at him another time. I told you I was a little demon child. Anyway, he went to get me, and I ducked. He flew over me. He fell on my bed. The bed broke. And all I could hear was him saying, "It's broke, it's broke." I thought he broke his arm, his leg or something. He was worried about the bed. I remember those times and I cherish them very much. And thank God, I'm not the demon child no more. I got saved.
Yes, that devil out.
Yeah, they did. Love all of you.
Yep. Well, I definitely got my work ethics from my father because at 10 years old I started working with him in the business and continued even when he broke his leg on a motorcycle. And I had to come home from school every weekend from college and do the business. A week's worth of work in 2 days. Oh God. I remember we, as kids, Bill, Karen, and I, were at the movie theater, and of course we think we got him for a dime back then because he was a policeman. And we're watching the movie, and all of a sudden we hear somebody laugh. I don't know if you two remember it or not. We're like, Mom and Dad's here. And oh, geez, what was that? Or something with Bill.
just sits there and he says, all us boys are using his name, but since I don't have to, you don't have to get.
I'm trying to remember what it was. I didn't, wish I'd known. I wrote something down, but, you know,
No. You forgot.
Bill was a demon, definitely the demon child. Oh, I know what it was. Is Becky still there? You always said Bill Hipsher made those boys mean, and you were wrong. You got the wrong Bill Hipsher. The demon child made us mean. Ask Karen.
You were right.
Bill made a mistake of beating on Karen and I at the same time one time, and we both looked at each other and Bill got whooped.
I know. I was there when you said it. I
The
remember.
three of you.
But
The three of you.
I remember when we went to Washington D.C. in 1962. Well, Sean wasn't born yet.
Yeah,
Sean was not born yet. Sean was? Okay, 64. Well, 64 then. But anyway, so we, I kind of like, the three of us, the three oldest, we kind of ventured off and we're sliding down, I think it was at the Jefferson Memorial, we're sliding down the rock, the stone that they have out there. We're having fun sliding. Well, they thought somebody kidnapped us. He couldn't get so lucky, but he come back there and he says, "I'm whooping all three of you when we get home. We're back to the room." And Bill went in first and he got a whooping, and then I went in. Karen went in. She got hers, and I went in and got mine. Karen's the only one that cried, and she's the only one that got babied. But
And you gotta work it.
yeah.
He knew that.
But yeah, I mean, he was a man who worked hard, and that's one skill he taught me, and I guess that's why I'm a workaholic in life. But pretty much all I had to say was a lot of fond memories of what went down. I could tell you one about up at Dick and Ben's house, but yeah, I won't do that.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Something he forgot. All of us kids used to go to Dad because he grounded us for 1,000 years, and we'd come to him and says, "Can you let us lift our grounding?" He'd laugh because he grounded. He'd always get so mad. Says, "You're grounded for 1,000 years." No, remember we'd go to. He says, "You lift that grounding?"
That's why you're still living there.
She's still grounded.
He grounded me for,
Life.
no, he grounded me for 50,000 years. So. Yeah.
Boy, you must have been really bad.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't even You were born on his birthday,
Yes, I was.
and I was born on his their second wedding anniversary, so I got to meet.
Young, you and Brian and Phil all got me.
I was the one playing.
I was supposed to be the
I was the only
youngest.
one playing.
You were supposed to be a girl.
We were all supposed to be girls, Chris.
Yeah, but Dad couldn't grab me for 50,000 years one time. I was in a week, and I said, "Mom, I've been in a week. I want to go to the dance tonight." And she said, "Oh, Bill, she's been good all week. Why don't you let her go?" I got to go. That 50,000 years didn't last. Oh, I tried to think of all the things we did. And you know, when I've been taking care of Mom and Dad for almost 6 years. It would have been 6 years in July. And I remember when Mom was still home and I'd say, "Oh my God, if I have to listen to him tell that story one more time, I'm going to scream," because he'd tell the same story over and over and over. Mom said, "You know what, when he's gone, you're going to miss him telling those stories." And I do. Since he was in the nursing home, I would tell the kids there, I said, "You know what, I miss Dad." I'd say, "Grandpa, tell those stories." Because he would, you know where Helm Street's at? Well, you go past that curve, and there's 3 houses on the south side of the street. My granddad built those houses. And he lived right in the middle of those, 3 houses, he lived there. And after a while then, my mom and dad moved in those houses. And those three look about the same, but we lived there for a long time. And he talked about that all the time.
Yeah, and how about,
Your grandparents moved in that house.
Yeah, well, that,
You
yeah,
said mom and dad.
well, he said his mom and dad. Yeah,
Our grandparents.
yeah. What one?
What was her name? She always had someone around always talking about it.
I think Jim should get up there and talk to her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I bet he hasn't.
He talked about the neighbor girl that rock and radio there.
Come on up, Jeff.
You know, she shot him with the BB
There's
gun.
good stories. You different
Just tell some stories.
Well, he talked about this girl that shot him with the BB gun, and he could never have a BB gun, but his brother did, he got the BB gun. So he took the BB gun, stood on his porch, and he aimed at that girl. It went into her head, but as far away as it went, it dropped, and it hit her right in the chest. Told that one a lot of times. He was a character. They always told me no. And in fact, when I took him from one nursing home, Westside County, over to Woodbridge, he told, I stopped at the house to wash my hands, and the guy came out to say, hey, old man, and he turned around and he said, I can still kick your ass. But that was my dad. That must be a Hipsher shirt. Yeah. They all said that. Yeah, they all said that. Or Bill said it, or Brian said it. They all said that. Oh, you can tell some good ones.
Well, I want to thank you, y'all. I guess I could put this down. You can hear me way back there. Can you hear me way back there? I better use this because I got some people up in the front kicking me. I'm Bill's brother, his youngest brother. There was 4 of us, 3 boys and 1 girl. And being the youngest and the second youngest who couldn't make it, we used to drive Bill crazy. I mean, I kind of felt sorry for him. We would torment him, and where we lived at 1117 Helm, we had a bathroom, and the door opened, and there was not much room between the opening of the door and the toilet. No, not toilet, but the bathtub. Well, we'd get him so mad at us, and then we'd run into that bathroom and kick our feet against the door, our back against the tub. He could never break through that. And then when we got tired, figured he was getting tired, we'd take the plunger from the toilet and put it up there against the door and against the bathtub. This is a trick that we learned over years. And then we'd crawl out the bathroom window. Well, you could see smoke coming out of his ears. But he couldn't catch it. Too late, too long gone. But I love my brother dearly. And I hope I get too emotional here. I'm going to miss him.
Aren't we all?
He was my family historian. If I needed to know something, I could call him up in old years back. You know, current years. His memory started failing. I just asked if he remembered this or if he remembered that. Because my memory was going down the tube. And he'd come up with the answer. He'd say, oh yeah, I know that. And then he'd tell me. And we're going to miss him a whole lot. He left his mark with me. Thank you for listening. I couldn't give sermon, but I can't beat this guy.
You rascal.
Hi.
Turn this thing around.
Hi. My name is Heidi, and for those who don't know me, I am Bill's great-granddaughter. So once, it was like a year ago, we were sitting outside, and he was telling me all these types of stories.
We'll be with you Monday.
And I would laugh and laugh. And then next, he would always ask me if I wanted a piece of candy. Every time. Like every minute. I don't really have much to say because I'm 12 years old.
You're a woman, come on.
I don't really have
You remember about it?
what I remember about him.
The candy was the most important, you know? I thought we all should have put a piece of candy in there before we went.
Oreo cookies and candy.
Yeah.
The Oreo cookies out there.
Oh yeah. He would always have a box, like 2 big bins of candy, peppermint candy. And I remember once, it was either Uncle Brian or my grandpa. They were going through the kitchen and they found like 6 big things of Oreos. Stuffed in their cabinet, hidden. Yep. Yeah.
That's right. Oreos.
Uh-huh.
Hey,
you sound like you've been stealing this candy, boy.
Well, I don't really have much
Rolly.
to say.
It's coming out.
What I do know is that I will always love my grandpa, and I hope I'll see him one day up in heaven.
I got a lot of stories. I've been with my grandpa for 35 years, almost 36 years. I wish Ryan was here so he could hear the story because he was my culprit in this one. But my fondest memory of him is the organ on 3rd Street. He always would sing me Amazing Grace. But I remember one year we got a hold of his Rolaids, me and Ryan and Billy. And I tell you, we'd say about beat us to death over that one. I'll tell you, my grandpa was the hardest working man I ever met in my life. 20 years on the police force, 30 years on the school corporation. I'm going to miss him deeply. I got to spend a lot of time with him in his later years. And I swear he told me the story of him living in Winamac 100 times, but I wish I could hear it one more time. I spent a good portion of his last morning with him, and he couldn't talk for once, so he got to listen to me for once. I definitely exercised that. He was a great man, and he'll deeply be missed, and I'll never forget him.
I'm the voice. Your guys' ass. Take that mask off.
So I love my people so much, and when I walk in their house, the first thing I see on the table is Oreos, and I miss the memories when we sit down, pray together, and when we always in the morning we always ate cereal, and after cereal we ate Oreos. And he was a great great grandfather. He was really nice, and I really miss him so much. He really loved his great-grandchildren, and he always loved his grandchildren too. He loved his sons and daughters. He loved all his family. And I always used to sit down on his lap in his chair, and he always used to tell me stories. Him and me always put shows on a channel on for me on the TV, and all his sons, great grandchildren and daughters love him so much.
Hello, everyone. Hi. I'm Sierra, if you don't know me. I wrote a little bit.
All right.
I wrote a little bit, if I can read it. A lot of you have said a lot of the things that I have written, which makes sense because he was a great man. Grandpa was a very hard worker. That is something that has stuck with all of us, I think. Like this little guy over here just said, we all used to curl up on his lap, every single one of us, until we couldn't anymore because we were too big. Even then, he'd still let us. There was always something very familiar about going to Grandpa and Grandma's old house. Waking up in the morning and smelling the freaking oatmeal and the coffee, Grandpa's Old Spice cologne, or aftershave. Brew. My God, I'm sorry, that's Dad. That's Dad. I think we've all lived with Grandpa and Grandma at some point.
I've never lived with them.
You were born and grown up, so. We spent summers at their house, every summer, swimming in their pool, eating a million peanut butter and jellies. Grandma's strawberry jelly, which I know the secret ingredient. Apparently it's on the back of the box, as she told me. So. I remember ordering Domino's pizza delivery, which I always felt was really special. One night it was pouring rain out, and we had sausage and pepperoni, or sausage and mushroom pizza, which was my favorite. So it was like even more special that it was pouring rain. We just curled up, ate pizza, and watched movies. Grandpa always had ice cream in the fridge. There was always at least 3 different flavors to choose from. I think my favorites were butter pecan or peaches and cream. I'm sure you can all think of your favorite flavor from his collection. He had a sweet tooth, it sounds like. Every holiday, sitting at the kids' table, just waiting for the chance to hop up into the grown-up seat when they got out of their seats. Their stocked fridge in the basement filled with caffeine-free Diet Pepsi, which is disgusting, but you get what you get. Most of my stories revolved around food because I was a chubby little girl, if you guys remember that. But Grandpa didn't care. Grandpa was very religious. He loved the Lord with his whole heart. I remember him saying several times over the last few years that he was ready to go home. He always said that children are angels on earth, and I fully believe that and have adopted that saying myself. He loved all of his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, Jesus. Where does it end? When I think about him, all I ever see him is with a great big smile on his face, and he looks so good. So good. I'm so glad. His big glasses and that shiny bald head.
3 circles and a wish.
My most fond memory of Grandpa is at one of Joel's weddings, which...
To be perfectly honest, that runs in the family.
literally felt like the queen of the ball. Like, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, felt like I was the only person in that room with him. And as we danced for that whole song, we just talked, and it was just wonderful. I also remember one year at school, in elementary school, Kenny, I think you might have been there at that time, but it was Grandparents' Day, and I didn't think that anybody would come. I didn't anticipate it. And then there comes Grandpa, and straight from work with his jeans and his suspenders and his
t-shirt.
Yeah. I think it was colder out, so it wasn't sweaty.
Oh, so he had the flannel.
Oh, yeah, girl. Then we went outside for recess, and he was just whipping us around in the merry-go-round, and I think one of the kids fell off. But he was just having the time of his life. And I don't remember Grandpa ever being angry. I have probably better experiences from not being a child of his. He raised his voice at us at some point, but it doesn't stick out in my mind. He has always just been my grandpa, and I thank him for raising the other best man in my life. So.
Thank you.
That is all I have. Thank you very much.
Didn't have time to be scared, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so the hair brushes.
You don't always come together under the best circumstances, but what matters is that we have a family, and we talk about Grandpa's work ethic and how good of a man he was, and a lot of times we talk about what he did good as a man, and what we don't talk about sometimes is how we lean on each other when we need it. And when I didn't have a figure to look to he took that role. He from riding on, I don't know what it was before Napa, but it was a car dealership, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a car dealership. I remember riding on the scrubber when I was a kid. Yeah, I couldn't do that now. I bog it down. But going out onto him, taking me out onto the porch at 3rd Street, and just so we could watch it rain. Later on, having jokes for me as I got to be an adult and we could share stuff like that. But the work ethic was always there. We all grew up dumping trash with him and locking floors with him and taking care of the businesses. Everybody always being exceptionally happy when we walked through the door. I never seen anybody disenchanted with my grandfather. He always had a laugh. I think I got a little bit of that from him, so my laugh was pretty loud. But I thank him for everything that he ever gave me, whether he knew he was giving it to me or not. And I have uncles that I grew up with that I was close to, and they were brothers to me. So, and I got that from him. So love him, and definitely miss him already. May he rest.
My phone's not gonna ring anymore. 3 times, oh my gosh. Come in.
More my wife.
I am Jim's wife. As you can tell, I'm the boss.
There's no other.
Yes.
And Joanne's sister.
Yes, and I am Joanne's sister. Boy, they get cheaper by the dozen. We have a farm, and Dad and Mom was always one to come out. Mom would always tell me how to can, and Dad was always out in the field, and I went with him one day. I didn't think I was ever going to get off that tractor. He was out disking the field, and every time I thought we were going to be done, he'd find another hill that he had to disc. So I don't know how long we was on that tractor. By the time I got off, I don't know if I could walk or sit. But he loved that. He loved that farm. Actually, it wasn't our farm. I think it was his farm. But that's one good thing I knew about Dad. He had a lot of fun doing what he wanted to do. And we're all going to miss him. That's all I got to say. I get that back to you.
I'm Hipsher. Are you gonna say something about Brother Bill? Drop that,
I was talking about Grandpa. Not you, honey. It was Bill. We just
Yeah,
worked time for him. Anyway, you guys knew what I was talking
She's
about.
my memory and I'm her memory.
That's why we're on privilege. Whoops, sorry, honey.
That's funny now, wait till we get outside.
I think the funniest thing ever happened to me was working with him, and we were working down at the Cadillac dealer. And he got mad at me and fired me, so I walked home. And next day, I'm in bed asleep, and he beats on my bedroom door. Get up, let's go to work. And I said, you fired me. Get your ass out of bed.
That's what I should have been doing.
Uh-oh.
One thing I remember about Grandpa is how I used to sit on his lap and he used to tell me stories, but if I put my finger up to his face, he would bite it. And every time I would leave, he always give me a hug and a kiss on the cheek and a piece of candy. And that is all I have to say.
Good.
Oh, get up there. Waddle up there. Come on, get up there.
Say.
Say it.
I can remember the first time that I met the grandpa and your dad. It's when we was all getting ready to go canoeing and stuff, and I spent the night. And I recall him coming downstairs in just his underwear, and I was really embarrassed. And he went, "Oh well, what a way to initiate you into the family." I know my face was all shades of red.
Sure his was too.
And then I can always remember, how close, like with everybody else, how close he was with his grandchildren. And, he and Joanne has taught me so much about family and how important family is and how you stand by them no matter what. And I'll never forget that. And I'll never forget his ornery jokes. It seemed like he gets told a joke once and he remembers it, and he was just so ornery. And then I remember him getting up a few times and dancing with the grandkids, and how he would sway those hips. And all you heard was the jing, jing, jing of his keys.
It's the janitor's keys.
Yeah. But I'm going to love him so much.
Jonathan's wife,
and I just wanted to also share the first time that I met Grandpa. With all the joking around that he did, I still to this day don't know if what he told me was serious, but I can't even repeat what he told me. I would be embarrassed, but I think it was Thanksgiving, maybe. Was it Thanksgiving? I don't know. It was some family gathering. Went to their house, and I remember I had 3 children when me and Jonathan first got together, and that was almost 16 years ago. And so I had a set of twins that were 2, and then a 5-year-old. So here I walk in. I'd never met any of the family or met this man before, and I just kind of get my plate and was pretty embarrassed and pretty nervous about being around everyone, and and he just was like, "What are you doing over there? Sit at this table, your family." And like, he'd never even met me, and he just was automatically like telling me to sit at this table, and this is where the family sat, and just welcomed me in, and then wanted to know my children, and just everyone was so welcoming. But I just really remember that. And then it just at the table, he proceeded to tell me about some surgical procedure that he had, and what that procedure was. But those that were sitting at the table that day would remember what that surgical procedure was. But I'm not going to say what that was. But I still to this day, maybe it wasn't even true. He could have been joking and just trying to embarrass me and make me feel really uncomfortable. And it worked. But he just was always so welcoming to me and my children. And although I didn't get to sit on his lap, I think he would have let me. I have a feeling he would have, because he was very welcoming. So.
That was real.
Good enough.
Thank you.
That's how I want to.
Too quiet. I'm Preston. I'm one of his great-grandchildren.
Me too. I am too.
I remember all the times that I would get up, go to school. I would be still be laying in bed, and I can hear the shuffling of his little shoes in the kitchen, getting closer. Boom, boom, boom.
And his cane, then he flips on the light.
And I'd wake up, we'd go get some Oreos. And then we'd do some oatmeal together and watch the news. It was always Fox News. Yeah. And watch the politics. And I remember talking about Donald Trump and that other lady. Hillary. And yeah, just like Chris said, when he went to the bathroom, it's always giving birth to a politician.
He was a Democrat.
Oh, yeah. He's a Democrat now.
Ooh, poor guy.
Grandpa's a Democrat now.
He changed. Where you been?
Democrat. I remember he'd always take his teeth out to scare the little children.
Yeah.
You're not the first generation to receive that.
I remember, when I was little, I'd run into him, I think it was like at Happy Burger and stuff, and he'd always come up to me and go, meep, meep, to my nose, like, meep, meep.
We'll miss him.
Where did they work?
Like I was saying, a lot of influence. Riding the scrubber. I share those stories with with my crew at work. I share those stories because I remember riding on the scrubber just as well. And then I also remember crashing the scrubber, Harris glass, and gouged the floor. And then a few days later, Grandpa told me that I was going to have to pay for the floor. I cried and cried. So, you know, he told me I had some ridiculous, it's like $6,000 or something. I was so little, you know, I'm like, how am I going to come up with $6,000? I don't have that kind of money. And he felt bad and told me that he was just kidding. But, all the stories and laughter, tears. Carry those with you, because I know I'm going to. I know we're all going to miss him. I just want to thank everybody for sharing.
I love you.
Thank everybody just for being here to celebrate this man's life, because he lived it well. That's it, and we'll go ahead and we'll close in prayer for the night. Father, we thank you. We thank you for this man that you gave to us, Lord, a pillar in our family. As he was a pillar full of strength and grace. Lord, we thank you for the time that we got together here tonight, Lord, that we were able to come together and celebrate his life, Lord, shed tears together and laugh together. We ask, Father, that you give us peace as we leave here tonight, Lord. And that you wrap your arms around him for all of us. Give him a hug. Let him know that we miss him and we love him. We thank you for giving him to us for as long as you did. We give you all the glory, praise, and honor. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name. Amen.
We all Stephanie, she's your oldest. Yeah.